Randy Goodin. Toast Master Judging. Toast Master Judging, Randy Goodin.
Madam Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, good evening. It is such an honor to be speaking before you in this competition this evening. And I want to share with you a little bit about what I know about Toastmaster judging, just in case you ever have to be a judge in one of these competitions. I'm from a little town called Hockin Holler down in Kentucky. It's between a holler on the left and a holler on the right, one up front, one in the back. We're just surrounded by hollers, and everybody's always a hollering. We don't have a lot going on there, so it leads sometimes to experimentation. Sometimes it doesn't always wind up the best, and we have relatives that we ain't going to see for a long time, but that's okay. Sometimes it leads to some interesting things, and it winds up being something that's very beneficial to the neighborhood, to the state, and to America as a whole. And that's what I want to talk about tonight. Back about 1964, my Grammy, who was trying to make things stretch as far as she could, because my grandpa was a sharecropper and we didn't have much, and she was raising 9 youngins on a very, 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 very slim budget. That fella earlier had that buffalo. I'd like to have that thing sometime. They really had to make things stretch. So Grammy would often do what has now become known as reduce, reuse, and recycle. She would reduce the waste because she would reuse it the next day. Leftovers to most people are something that's kind of new in areas. For us, it was just something that was common. And she would recycle. The peas you had on Monday would wind up in the vegetable soup on Thursday. And Grammy always had a way to make things stretch, including day-old bread. We never threw anything away. But Grammy was always trying to figure out what to do with that bread because it would get stale and it just wasn't no good. So one day, Grammy just had an idea. Grandpa had left his frog gigging sticks out by the fireplace, and Grammy had sliced off some bread and it was starting to get stale. And she thought, you know what? I bet if I put that on one of them frog gigging sticks, I could create something here. That was the beginning of toast and Hockin Holler. My Grammy made the first piece of toast in Hockin Holler, and she did it over and over and over from there until she perfected her toast making ways, and my Grammy became the first toast master of Hockin Holler. Now, what that led to is Grammy had to train everybody that lived in Hockin Holler and the other hollers that surrounded us. So she taught Jenny, Jeff, Joe, Josephine up the back. But what happens is when you do that, and I'm sure you've seen this where you live, by doing that, everybody thinks he's better than everybody else. So we wind up with competitions. Hence our first Toastmaster competition at the Hockin Holler Fall Festival. Well, the first one didn't go so well because we didn't have any judging criteria and everybody thought they won and we didn't have any winner. So the next year, we decided we was going to have some judging standards, and I want to share those with you now. My Grammy came up with these after scientific experimentation of holding the bread over the fire for so long and figuring out how dark to get things. So here is the judging criteria that we use when we is judging the Toastmaster competition down in Hockin Holler. This here is where we start. This here is what y'all know is just plain old light bread or white bread, whatever you can call it where you is. This is where you start. This is not where you want to end up. That's the first category you don't want to be in. Then we move into those people that think they got it figured out and they give you the basic bread. This thing here, it ain't toast. You barely even lighten or darken that thing. I'm sorry. We don't consider this toast, and this is a failure category down in our Toastmaster competition. This is a category we call angry bread. Why is it angry? You almost got it to toast, but it's just not quite there. This is another category that will get you a failure in our Toastmaster competition. And then we have the gold standard. This is what we're looking for. Nice brown color in there to get you in. This is what we consider a perfect toast over an open fire. This is where you want to be. Then we move into the next one. This is Mama's mad bread. You don't want to be here. And some people say, well, why is Mama mad? You took what was a perfectly good piece of toast and you burnt the rascal up. She don't like that. Mama's mad. This is not a category you want to be in. And the very last judging criteria is what we call the house stinker. This thing here, if you get a house stinker, you know it, and you do not want to bring this to a competition. We use all of these to judge our Toastmaster competitions down in Hockin Hall. Now, we've had some people over the years tried to be real sneaky. We had one feller come in with a British accent and said he had a fancy round toast. We later disqualified him. We found out that was an English muffin. We'd never seen one. We didn't know what it was. That will not work in a Toastmaster competition. And then Fred down the holler thought he would be a wise guy one time, and he brought us what he called a spotted beagle. Now, that was no hound dog. We come later to find out that that was actually a raisin bagel. But again, we'd never seen one. But just so you know, if they show up in your Toastmaster competition, those are disqualified. You've got to stick with the toast. Now, I told you how Grammy come up with this. I told you a little bit about her history, how she practiced with the frog gig over the open fire till she perfected this, how she taught the others, our standard that we use. And you may say, well, why is he telling me all this? Because I'm sure the rest of you, just like the rest of us, are world travelers. Yes, we are. I got to Louisville one time. It like scared me to death. But as you travel the world, if you should find yourself lost in a place like Hockin Holler, you will know how to judge a county fair Toastmaster competition. Madam Contest Master.